If you feel like your business is running your life and that you have no life, then this one is for you. So, in this video, we are going to discuss how what's going on in your private practice is directly connected to everything that is going on inside of your world. So, if you found my content helpful, please like, comment, follow, subscribe, share, all the things. And I invite you to take my 2-minute Are You the Bottleneck quiz to find out who or what is slowing down your progress. So, when I had my private practice, my life literally revolved around it. So, day in and day out, it was all consuming. So, I had no hobbies, no personal life, and no time to myself. And I got lost in the sauce, essentially. And when I finally was able to break free from my practice, I felt empty. And I had no idea who I was outside of the title of private practice owner. So, the key takeaway in this video is that your private practice is an outward reflection of your inner world. So, I want you to ask yourself, what is my current relationship with myself? What is my current relationship with time? What is my current relationship with money? And what is the current relationship with my closest relationships? So, I haven't decided what to do with her just yet, but we're going to go through a lot of these. And I also have a podcast episode that I recently released that is literally about just this, but I'm talking about it in this video a different way. So feel free to check out the Fear Chronicles, False Evidence Appearing Real. It is amazing. And it really dives a lot deeper into a lot of the topics that I cover in these YouTube videos. So when we think about our relationships, we tend not to think about this first one. And that's why it's first. Well, because it's the most important relationship that you will ever have is the relationship with yourself. But furthermore, when we talk about our relationship with ourselves, I want you to think of it twofold as the relationship with your current version of yourself, the now, and the relationship with the future CEO version of yourself, right? Because there is, on some degree, a gap. But my question for you is, I want you to think about, are you spending time with both? So what I mean by that is, well, A, are you spending time with yourself? Are you giving yourself time to just be? And, asking yourself, what is it that you would love? And what would you like to see? Right? And then when we spend time with the CEO version of ourselves, that is through many different ways. But really, this could be through writing, through scripting. This can be through visualizations, what you wish to see come through your business and through you, because you have to get clear. And one of the greatest ways to get clear is to be able to visualize it and that can be through writing first and then visualizing it, whatever the case may be. But the idea is of asking yourself, and I want you to reflect on, so you can either reflect or for whiteboard space, I'll just say audit. I want you to kind of audit these for yourself because they're all very, very important areas that I really want you to pay attention to and reflect on for yourself. So, are you spending time with both of them? And what is your relationship with those versions of yourself? And then we're going to dive into time, which I cover in many different ways when it comes to your calendar and your time. But what is your relationship with time? So you find yourself perceiving, thinking, having thoughts about not enoughness, that you don't have enough time, or you saying things like, it always escapes me, or I wish I had like 28 or 30 hours in a day. There's just not enough hours in the day. Like, what is your relationship with time? And then I want you to go further and ask yourself, do you find that what you're thinking in your relationship, and asking yourself, do I find that to be 100% true? So the things that you were thinking in your relationship with yourself, both present and future, and your relationship with time, and frankly, it'll be all of these areas, do you believe that to be 100% true? Okay. So then we're going to money. So when it comes to money, and that can be a hot topic, sensitive topic for some, but it's we need to explore is what is your relationship to money? Because we all have a relationship to money and we all have stories about money. So do you find yourself often saying things like you don't have any or you don't have enough, or if I only had more, or when blank happens, then I can purchase this or do this or have the ability to get X, Y, and Z? Do you feel like you have to work harder in order to earn or gain or have that more revenue in your business? What are the things that you are saying, thinking, your perception when it comes to your relationship with money? It may be that you don't have a problem necessarily making money, but you have a problem keeping it, or you perceive like once you get it, you lose it or you spend it just as fast. What is your relationship with money? And reflect on that for yourself. And then ask yourself, do I feel that that is 100% true? Whether it is the stories or the things and the thoughts that you think about money, how you feel about money. Because the next is your relationship with relationships. So what I mean by that is typically your five closest relationships. And these are typically personal. They could be business, but they're usually personal because the five closest relationships are the five people we typically spend the most time with. And the reason is we want to look at those relationships in particular because I'm actually releasing a podcast episode later on about this, but these relationships, they do help mold our our perceptions, our stories, and our reality and what we see. So I want you to reflect on with those personal relationships, are they healthy? Are they supported? Do you feel supported in those relationships? And vice versa. Do you feel like you are a supportive partner in whatever the relationship dynamic is? Do you feel like there's an open level of communication within your closest relationships? That's a two-way street, right? Do you feel like you can openly communicate? And does that other person feel like they can openly communicate with you? How are your relationships? What is your relationship to your five closest relationships? Reflect on it and then ask yourself if there are some like stories or storylines, or like maybe there's some resistance with some relationships. Why is that? And then, whatever your answer is, do you feel like that is 100% true? Is that really like what's really going on here? Or is that maybe a variation or embellished version of a story that you have told yourself? Okay. Now, what I haven't written on here and what my podcast episode was about, which is huge. And actually delve into this a lot deeper in my program, the Private Practice Burnout Solution. There's actually an entire module on it because it is so incredibly important and it's foundational, which is the mirror effect, which is real because I have lived it and it is everything. So when I talk about the mirror effect, I'm talking about this. What is going on inside of you? So what we can't see, but it's happening again because that's our thoughts, our beliefs, and all of the things. What is going on with you has no choice but to be reflected back to you in your world, in your reality. So that's your primary relationships, those five closest people. Those are the patterns. That's your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors are all what you will see because, again, your beliefs and what you focus on, which is your brain and that filtering system, the reticular activating system, your RAS, is going to reflect that back to you because, again, your brain always wants to prove you right. So it's going to go based on your beliefs, and what you believe is 100% true. So when you think about your relationship with yourself, your relationship to time, your relationship to money, your closest relationships, when we look at our business and our lives, because, our life is part of our business and vice versa, everything is being reflected to you based on what you believe. Okay. So your actions reflect that. the revenue that's either coming or going or both or not coming into your business are all being reflected back to you. Your relationship with yourself and how you relate to whether that's in your business or in your personal relationships are being reflected back to you. So it's very key that we take a magnifying glass and look at our relationships because to all of these areas, our relationship with all of these areas, because you will see it in your business, you're going to see it in your life, you're going to see it in your closest relationships, and it's going to be reflected all over the place because it has no choice to be reflected back to you. So when you want to shift and you feel like you should be making more money in your business and more revenue, and you feel like you should be able to fulfill X, Y, and Z, there is some part of you or parts of you somewhere that are deep down in your beliefs, in your operating system, in your programming that is making it so that maybe you don't truly believe it. Maybe you don't believe that to be 100% true. Maybe on some level, you feel like you are not able to create that kind of success or hold that kind of money or to be able to expand your business because on some deep level you feel like that's going to create more responsibility and you really actually don't want the responsibility, but so you're making it hard for yourself and you're actually blocking yourself from being able to take the next steps, do the things that you want to do, that you say you want to do, because deep down these stories, these beliefs and these patterns that are mostly running, subconsciously are making it so that you are being reflected what's actually your programming. I really hope that you found this helpful. Again, I dive deeper into this in my podcast, Fear Chronicles, False Evidence Appearing Real. But even further, again, this is a high level overview because there's so much I could talk about on this topic. But I dive deeper into this in my program, The Private Practice Burnout Solution. This and basically an entire transformative journey between your life and your business, because at the end of the day, your business, again, is an outward reflection of what's going on internally in your internal world is being expressed outwardly. So when you feel like there's things that are not working or misaligned, it's really you are always aligned. That's actually the caveat to all of this. You're aligned to whatever your programming says you are. So if subconsciously you are programmed to only make, or you feel comfortable and familiar with X amount in revenue, or you only feel comfortable with one location, or you only feel like that is where you're comfortable and that's where you are going to stay. So you're actually aligned to that identity. So when we go back to our relationship with our current self and then the future version of ourselves, that is where the real work is. Because again, we want to be closing the gap to being her. And how do we do that? It really goes back to your operating system and really delving into what are your current relationships with some of these primary areas. There are more, but I didn't want this video to get super long. So again, I hope that you found that helpful. Check out the Fear Chronicles, False Evidence Appearing Real. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. And if you want to check out a little bit more, I invite you to take my 2-minute Are You the Bottleneck quiz to find out who or what is slowing down your progress. And I'll see you in the next one.